What is the Islamic solution for this? The Islamic solution for depression and for suicide is Allah says in the Quran in chapter number 13 verse number 28, "Verily in the remembrance of Allah will hearts find satisfaction." So the survey on which people are the most satisfied is the Muslim, because the Muslim knows that verily in the remembrance of Allah will find satisfaction. So this is the solution for depression and for suicide. And Allah also says in the Quran in chapter 2 was number 195 that do not make your own hands a cause of your own destruction, that is saying that committing suicide is haram. And my father, he was one of the first Muslim psychiatrists in India. And he was the president or the psychiatrist in an association, and is to always say that the best treatment for a depressed person for anxiety it is the Quran. You read the Quran with understanding and inshallah your depression will be solved. And there are treatments of depression. You can take antidepressant. There are other drugs, or one is psychotherapy. Talking, that is the best. Instead of talking, you let Allah talk to you. If Allah talks to you, He is the best cure in the world. He is the one who can cure. He is the best doctor. He is the best psychiatrist. So let Allah talk to you. That will be the best go. And the third is the ECT, that ECT electroconvulsions is therapy, where you put and you give shocks. But the best is the therapy that psychiatrics talks to you one-to-one. And the best talking can be done is by Allah. So the best solution is reading the Quran. Understanding, with translation. I have given the talk on the topic is the purpose of life. And in this talk have described that every human being has a center. Some people are merely society center. What will the society think about me? So they are more bothered about what will the friends and the society think about me. So they are trying to satisfy society. Some people are neighbor center, they are more involved in trying to prove that they are better than the neighbor. Some people are family centered. They are more bothered about their parents. Some people think that what their parents say is everything. So the main purpose of life is to satisfy the mother. Some people's purpose of life is to satisfy the father. So even if the mother speaks against Quran and Sunnah, if he is a Muslim, he will say no. Following the mother is important, not realizing that yes, obeying the mother is important, but if the mother speaks against Allah and His Rasul, at that time you don't listen to her. But that person is mother-centered. So you only want to satisfy mother even though she goes against Allah and His Rasul. People are father-centered, some people are children-centered. They are so much bothered that they want to see to it that their children are successful, or they want to make their children maybe a celebrity or maybe a doctor. So whatever the children say they will follow hook or by crook, they want to satisfy them. But a true Muslim, a true moment is a person who is Allah-centered. His life should be revolving around the commandments of Allah, the teachings of Allah and His Rasul, a beloved prophet if he is Allah-centered, and that what was a beloved prophet. And the end that they always, when they did any deed, they used to wonder will Allah be happy or not. They are least bothered whether it will be against them or not. Will it be against the family or not? The first criteria was will Allah and His Rasul be happy or not. So, a true Muslim should be Allah-centered. If you are Allah-centered and if you are centered around the teachings of glorious Quran and of a beloved Prophet inshallah, you can never be depressed. And as I said, depression is different from feeling grief or sad. A person can be sad if he goes lost in business or if he has a death in the family, but depression is a medical terminology. If that thing continues for 2 or more, it's called a depression. So, if someone dies, our beloved said, you can maximum grieve for 3 days. That also in limitation, you cannot go overboard. All these are teachings of a prophet because there is a will of Allah. So if you follow the teachings of the Quran inshallah, there is no question of you to be depressed. Because Quran has a solution to the problems of depression. The depression mainly comes is because of the anxiety, because you are always trying to satisfy maybe your neighbor or maybe trying to satisfy someone else in the society. So best solution is the Quran. And I also given on Quran the path to happiness. And in that I have said that there are various types of happiness. One is a false happiness which a person can get if he has alcohol. Or if he has drugs, it's a fake happiness. Just maybe for a few minutes or for a few hours. Then second is a temporary happiness. You may want to become rich and you may become rich, but then after that what? You may want to become actor and you become an after that what? But the real true happiness is everlasting happiness that can only be achieved as Allah says in the Quran in Imran chapter 3 was number 85 that every soul shall have a taste of death. And the final recompense is on the day of judgment. And anyone who is saved from the hellfire and enters the Jannah has achieved the objective of this world. For this world is nothing but mere chatters of deception. So the main objective of a Muslim is ultimate goal, ultimate happiness is Jannah. And before he reaches Jannah, the path to Jannah is also happiness. What you lead in this life. So the survey said that the survey done in the Mannheim University in Germany by the non-Muslim German psychologist that was satisfaction, the satisfaction that you have even though the Muslims are ill-treated, they are oppressed, yet we find that they have faith in Allah. So because of that the satisfaction level is very high, the happiness level is very high, and we find the percentage of depression in the Muslim is the least. The percentage of suicide is the least. And a person who is more close to Allah and who follows more of the Quran and the Sunnah, he may have whatever problem in this world, he will not get depressed. There is no question of committing suicide because the Muslim knows it's a major sin. And the Muslim knows that this life is a test for the hereafter. As Allah says in the Quran chapter number 67 verse number 2, it is Allah who has created that the life to test which of youth could indeed